Coco Gauff standing on business as she brings out the largest crowd here in Australia for the United Cup. And as always, this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. Things did not start off well for Leylah Fernandez, getting a violation to start the match and having service games extending up to 8 and 9 minutes. It seemed like she would get another violation using every second of her service clocks. Julie was not having it to start this match. And we would then progress into the second set where Jorge would accuse Leylah Fernandez of being negative. I personally did not see it. I just felt Leylah was trying to problem solve, doing her best out there, an amazing, intense competitor. I just felt she tried to rally and pump herself up. However, during most of the match, I saw positive facial expressions. I saw a competitor, a champion, just trying to figure it out against, in my personal opinion, the best tennis player in the world right now, as Coco Gauff gets the victory in straight sets, multiple break points. The first set started off very rough for Leylah, broken on her second service game, and Coco did not look back as Team USA pumped up, Jordan fist pumps. Nothing but positive things to say from the coaching staff on Team USA. Yes, they've said that Coco has been one of the best players and easiest to work with. Anytime they call her for hitting practice, whether it's 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., she's up and she's ready to go. And that's the demeanor that we've always heard Coco has had on tour. Just a positive breath of fresh air, a very good energy, no pun intended, guys. I had to throw that one in there, but just good energy, just a freaking tennis machine when it comes to just analyzing the game mentally, physically gifted. She's always down to practice, guys. And if you ever seen Coco practice, the lines literally wrap around the court. She's that big. She's big time. Trust me. The fans poured in, and Coco said in the post-match interview that she actually saved Team USA. That's right, guys. They do these mystery challenges, right, as a team. And this is the third United Cup. This is the third USA team we've put forward in the United Cup. And none of the previous teams have able to problem solve their way out of these mystery rooms. Coco helped Team USA finally problem solve their way out of the mystery rooms. And look, she blamed Taylor Fritz, by the way, for screwing the first time up. Joking, right? They're going to play mixed doubles later on. They're also going to take on Felix and Leylah. That's going to be a good match, so stay tuned. I'll probably cover that. But if we take a look at the final match summary, guys, look at that perfect on net point one. Coco's offense is getting pretty darn scary. The serve looked good. Only 3 double faults. If Coco's not beating herself, and I say this all the time with, those funny prediction videos that I do, the only one that can beat Coco is Coco. Ask the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen. Only 3 double faults. Now, that's been her, for the most part, her average, right? If you go back a few years ago, only about 3 double faults a match, which I'd like to see that down to about 1. Serena Williams, for her career, was not giving away free points to her opponents. That's why she was always so efficient. Not only did Serena not give her opponents any free points from double faults, but she won about 82% of her service game. So one of the best serves ever. She could disguise her serve. And what's scary about Coco, guys, every time I watch her, seems like every year, she's becoming more and more like Serena. The way she rocks back on the baseline, the way she talks and sounds in these interviews, she sounds like Serena. Listen, guys, she may not necessarily be the second coming of Serena when it comes to slams, but in terms of personality, persona, just bigger than the game, she is the second coming of Serena, because Serena was big time. I mean, look at what Coco's doing. She's by far the most popular player on tour. She's the highest earning female athlete. Serena Williams had a lot of those accolades early on in her career, and right now Coco's only 20 years old. She's starting to do it, and I'm telling you guys, I think Coco's going to win the Australian Open. When Coco starts putting together 1 or 2 slams per year, I think they're going to add up pretty quickly. Now, I don't want to put any pressure on Coco. She already has a lot of pressure on her right now. But I personally think this is going to be the year, this 25 season, when she propels to number one. Because let's just be honest here. If Sabalenka does not defend this Australian Open Championship, she's going to lose a lot of points. And again, that's going to depend on how far she can get and go deep in the draw. But I don't think Sabalenka is going to defend this Australian Open title. And Iga Swiatek, she's has 5 titles to defend herself, but that big title, I don't think Iga's going to win the Australian Open. That big title for Iga is going to be the French Open. She's going to have to defend that. And Coco every year is always right there. Whether it's a quarterfinal, the semifinal, the championship match. She won the doubles championship match last year with Katerina Siniakova, so don't forget about that. But she also won the French Open as a junior. So she said it time and time again. France is her favorite place to play, ladies and gentlemen. She likes the real clay, not that stuff in Charleston, South Carolina. You won't see Coco playing in that tournament. But nonetheless, guys, she gets the victory here. For most of the first set, she won 92% of her first serves. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. She gets the job done here. Efficient on the serve, efficient on the forehand. And listen, my personal opinion, some of the other announcers think that Coco plays her best forehand tennis when she's running through those shots. I don't think so. I think that's when she's hitting wide and when she's netting. I think she plays her best forehand tennis when she slows down because she's so fast. She's running all over the court preparing for her next defensive shot, returning. I think she plays her best forehand tennis when she slows down, gathers her thoughts, and focuses on following through with a nice shot. Yes, you don't want to think too much about it, but Coco's problem when hitting the forehand is she's running through. It's her feet. It's not. I don't think it's her technique. I think it's her feet. She is running too fast into these shots. And I say it all the time. For anyone, I'll pivot to basketball. Any of you guys that have played basketball, you ever get any of you fast players, and this is only for fast players. If you're not fast, you're not going to understand this. You ever get a steal, you have a fast break, and you're running 100 miles per hour to lay that ball up. If you don't stop, focus on laying that ball in, you are going to completely run through that layup. And a lot of times you're going to miss. If you have to stop and lay that ball in. If you just run through that layup, you're going to miss it. That's what Coco's doing. Her footwork, she's too fast. She's running through the forehand. So I disagree with some of these former players and experts. And again, look, when you watch as much tennis as I do, when you play as much tennis as I do, and not every expert agrees, and that's the beauty of the game, is people coach the game differently. But I'm telling you why Coco has had trouble with her forehand. It's not her grip, it's not her technique. I mean, you look at players like, she won the French Open Championship with Katerina Siniakova. Some people say she's got the worst serve on tennis. And I mean, look, people have said Coco has the worst serve, but in terms of form and motion, a lot of people think Katerina has the worst service technique in tennis, but it works for her. Okay, it works for her. It's helped her become a golden doubles career slam winner, Olympic gold medalist. Okay, it works for her. So it's not necessarily technique. I mean, you take a look at some of these players that have played, whether it's NBA, Sean Marion, he's got one of the worst forms ever. But look, he's a Hall of Famer, okay? Amazing numbers and pretty accurate from behind. Look at LaMelo Ball. A lot of people have not necessarily liked his form, but he's a very accurate shooter. So I don't think it's about technique. I think it's about doing what's comfortable for you, because the reality here is if it's comfortable for you and you're comfortable doing it, then you're going to get the results. And it's not necessarily about the technique. Technique doesn't work for everyone. It's about being comfortable with your craft and execution. And I think it's tough to execute if mentally you're not comfortable, right? So my personal opinion, I think Coco now she's being more mindful when she's setting up the forehand. And I think that is what's getting her the results, but also Coach Daly's doing an amazing job as well. And can the technique help? Of course it can, but that's not necessarily going to work for every player. I think every player is different in their technique. And I think it's more so, and this is my opinion, okay? I think it's more so about being comfortable in what you're doing and how you're executing it. And I think that's going to get you the best results overall, just being comfortable with your craft. And I think right now, a lot of the pressure as well that's off of Coco is also helping her play better as well, because you have to understand she's in, look, so to speak, she's getting some of these monkeys off of her back. She's got the US Open title off of her back. Now she has a WTA finals off of her back. So as she has another Master 1000 under her belt. So as she gets a lot of these trophies and championships and accolades off of her back, so to speak, another notch on her belt, she's becoming more comfortable, right? The noise and the external feedback, the trash talking, it's starting to die down a bit because a lot of people are starting to see how really good she is, right? She has another win over Iga Swiatek, right? She has another win over Sabalenka, comeback victories over Kim Jong. So as she gets more wins, as she gets more championships, she's getting more comfortable. And I think that's really a huge factor that a lot of people are ignoring as well. She's getting more comfortable. She's getting more, praise, more recognition as one of the best players on tour. So that's making her become more mentally comfortable in her craft. And I think it's going a long way. And it doesn't hurt to have a new sneaker as well. That's a beautiful sneaker, guys. Make sure you go buy the new Air Cocos. But again, I think Coco's going to have an amazing season. I think she's going to win the Australian Open. I mean, let's just take a look at the draw. Who in the draw is going to challenge her? I mean, Iga Swiatek, and of course we have to wait for the draw to come out, but being number 3, chances are she's not going to run into Iga Swiatek, but the reality here is Iga Swiatek, the Australian Open hasn't been one of her best tournaments. I do think she will put more emphasis this year on doing better at the Australian Open. And Iga Swiatek is so good, she's always a threat to win it as well. By the way, she has the second best odds to win it behind Sabalenka, and Coco's third. So the experts do feel that Iga will have a good showing at the Australian Open this year. And then, by the way, the fourth, if you're wondering, it's not Elena Rybakina, it's Kim Jong. I don't think Elena Rybakina looks as great as she can, but again, it's still early. She's coming back, so I don't think she is a front runner to win it at all. I don't think Elena Rybakina is going to win the Australian Open. I don't think Iga Swiatek is going to win the Australian Open, and I don't think Sabalenka is going to win the Australian Open. I think Sabalenka, if she has just a tad bit more of a challenging draw, then I think that will be enough for her to be upset in the Australian Open. I just think her draws the last couple of years. I mean, yes, she did defeat Elena Rybakina in the 23 season. That's always a tough match, but Magdalene, a little bit of a tough match there. But I just think if she gets just at least a couple more top 20 players along that run, I think she could be upset. But overall, I'm excited for this new season. Coco gets a victory here at the United Cup. Team USA excited. Again, it's good to see the feedback in the coach's corner, them giving Coco pointers. She's very receptive, and they've said she's just been amazing to work with. She's up early, anytime ready to hit. And this was just a beautiful match to watch. Next up, Coco and Layla again, but this time mixed doubles. See you guys soon.